In this video, we're breaking down the Carmelo Anthony trade. I'm going to take a brief look at his career, talk about some of his efficiency issues, his defense, and how he fits with the Thunder, and where this puts OKC in the big picture. What's up guys, my name is Mark. We've got a lot to talk about, so let's just jump right into it. I'm sure you've heard the news by now. Carmelo Anthony has been traded to the Oklahoma City Thunder for Enes Kanter, Doug McDermott, and a 2018 second round pick. Carmelo Anthony this next season will be making the difficult transition from being the number 1 option, which he has always been up till today, to being the number 3 option. It's safe to say that Carmelo is far past his days of being the best player on a championship team, if he ever was one to begin with, which you can debate. Now, in very recent history, we've seen 2 cases of stars making the transition from being the number 1 option to being the number 3 option. Chris Bosh, who was the best player on the Raptors and went to the Heat, and Kevin Love, the best player on the Timberwolves, went to the Cavs. In both cases, their numbers dipped significantly, and we can expect the same for Carmelo. Both Kevin Love and Chris Bosh were also heavily criticized by the media and fans for quote-unquote underperforming. But I don't think that will be the case for Carmelo, and it's because of his age. When Love and Bosh switched teams, they were both 26 years old and entering their basketball prime. Carmelo is 33 and about 4 years removed from his quote-unquote prime. And after what we've seen with Love and Bosh, who both struggled adjusting to playing alongside better players, but both ultimately played a part in their teams winning the championship, I hope that this year we won't have to go through these stupid debates of, oh, what's wrong with Carmelo? Oh my god, why is he averaging 4 less points per game? It's because there's one basketball, and there's a limit to how many shots you can generate as a team per game. He's not gonna average 22 and 6 like he did last season. If I had to guess, I would guess maybe 18 and 5. But on the other hand, his efficiency will no doubt rise. And that has been one of the biggest criticisms of Carmelo's career. For you guys who watch a lot of my videos, you know that I talk a lot about volume versus efficiency. It's a very simple and intuitive concept, yet for some reason, people don't talk about it as much. It's true, by all efficiency measures, field goal percent, true shooting percentage, Carmelo has never been very efficient, especially these last 3 to 4 years. And yes, the analytics movement in the NBA has overly exposed his inefficiency as a player. In this day and age where ball movement is emphasized and isolation frequency is decreasing across the board, Carmelo's biggest strength isn't valued as much. But regarding this, I have 3 things I want to point out. Number 1, Carmelo Anthony, 45.2% shooting from the field in his career. Kobe Bryant, 44.7% shooting from the field in his career. Am I suggesting that Carmelo is a better scorer than Kobe? Of course not. No, he's not. Kobe did average 30 points per game for multiple seasons. Carmelo has never done that. Again, volume versus efficiency. Higher the volume, the lower the expectation we should have for efficiency. But the reason why I bring this up is I would like for all of us NBA fans to take a moment and think. If Carmelo had better teammates and he won just 1 ring, would we still be labeling him as this overrated, inefficient superstar? Do you want to know someone else who's being criticized for being an inefficient superstar his entire career? Paul Pierce, 44.5% shooting from the field in his career on a lower volume than Carmelo. You want to know when the media and NBA fans stopped calling him inefficient? Yep, you guessed it, when he won the championship in 2008. I can make an entire video talking about our crazy dramatic shift in our perception of superstars once they win at least just 1 title. And again, I don't want to get into some weird, crazy Pierce versus Carmelo debate, but I would like people to just think a little more objectively, to think without all these crazy narratives the media has built up, to think for themselves a little bit. That's all I'm asking. Point number 2. Along the lines of volume versus efficiency, Carmelo, just like Paul George, will be more efficient next year. He will be. Both of them are going to get more open shots. Carmelo last year shot 40.4% on catch and shoot threes, which is the easiest type of 3-point shot category. Contrast that to his overall 3-point percentage, and it paints a clear picture of how difficult his shot attempts were on average. That's why I wouldn't be the least surprised if Carmelo does shoot 40% from 3 this next season. Like a lot of people have been talking about, we're gonna see Team USA Melo, the 3-point sniper. Point number 3. Last season, Carmelo took a career high 30.3% of his field goal attempts from 3. This year, I expect that number to be in the high 30s and low 40s. He's going to shoot more 3s since he's going to play off ball a lot more. Just the simple Westbrook and Carmelo pick and fade that OKC ran last year with Westbrook and Sabonis will generate a lot of catch and shoot 3s for Carmelo. Since we brought up Sabonis, let's talk about positions, and specifically a question that I've been getting a lot on social media, which is who's gonna play power forward. At this point, I would expect the Thunder to start Westbrook, Paul George, Roberson, Carmelo, and Steven Adams. Before this Carmelo trade, it was Patrick Patterson at that power forward position. Now, it depends on the matchup. but against most teams, this starting lineup will be just fine. I talked about this before when the Gordon Hayward signing happened and people were asking the same question, who's gonna play power forward for the Celtics? And I said Hayward and Crowder can both start and they can take turns being the power forward. Obviously, this was before Crowder got traded. And what I explained in that video also applies here, and it's that what teams really have the personnel to expose this 2-3-4 combo of Roberson, Paul George, and Melo? And the short answer is not many. Maybe just one. The Pelicans with Anthony Davis and DeMarcus Cousins, you need two traditional big men to guard them for very obvious reasons. The Spurs with LaMarcus Aldridge and Pau Gasol, maybe, although we've seen LaMarcus in recent years struggle a lot against much shorter defenders. The Clippers with Blake and DeAndre, maybe, although we saw Gordon Hayward do a pretty good job guarding Blake in the playoffs. The Knicks with Porzingis and Kanter, maybe. The power forward position has not only been shrinking in average height, it's also the one position in today's NBA where we see the most fluctuation in terms of height and in terms of play style. So the short answer to that question is sometimes it's going to be Carmelo, sometimes it's going to be Paul George, sometimes it's going to be Patterson, and once in a while it'll be Andre Roberson. There's no point in trying to draw a distinct line between Roberson's a shooting guard, Paul George is small forward, Melo is the power forward. That's not how NBA offenses and defenses are designed. Again, it depends on the matchup, and like Jalen Rose said once, positions were created for a novice to follow the game. Lastly, I want to talk about Melo's defense for a bit. Is Melo a poor defender? Yes, he is. Absolutely, he is. Eye test shows it, defensive metrics prove it, we all know it. Melo's a bad defender. But will he be a better defender on OKC? I'd say yes, for two main reasons. Number one, defense is more effort-based than offense, meaning that a lot of the poor defenders like Harden and Westbrook are mostly bad defenders because they can't exert that much energy on defense. Melo falls into that category too, to some degree, and being the third option on the team having to play less minutes will naturally make him a better defender. Using the same logic, I also expect Westbrook to be a better defender now that he has quote-unquote help. Reason number two, Melo is now on a better defensive team than he was before. In the last 5 seasons, including that one year they won 54 games, the Knicks have always been a below average defense every single year. In some cases, one of the worst in the league. The Thunder last year were 10th in defense. By getting rid of Kanter, McDermott, and Sabonis, keeping Jeremy Grant, as well as adding Paul George, this Thunder team could legitimately be a top 5 defense next year, especially if Westbrook doesn't have to go 107% on offense and he can actually play some defense. Being around better defenders makes you a better defender. That's the bottom line. And while Carmelo at this point in his career does have very limited physical tools and a very limited defensive IQ, will he be better in OKC? Yes. To what extent will he be better? That depends on him. Okay, let's talk big picture now. Does this make them better than the Golden State Warriors? No, it doesn't. It doesn't. The Warriors should still 100% be the favorites to win the championship. Does this put them ahead of the rest of the West? Possibly, depending on how the CP3 Harden experiment works out in Houston, depending on how the Timberwolves can fit together their new pieces, and depending on whether or not we see a healthy Rudy Gay in San Antonio. But this was a good trade since they didn't have to give up a first round pick, they actually got rid of Enes Kanter's bad contract, and it does put them a step closer to Golden State, however significant or insignificant that step may be. Thank you guys for watching this video. Let me know down in the comment section, where does this put OKC in your eyes? Do you have them 5th in the West, 4th, 3rd, 2nd? Do you have them 1st? If you have them first, you're gonna have to do some explaining, to me at least. Lastly, subscribe to the channel if you're new. I do trade breakdowns like this, NBA stat videos, just random stories throughout NBA history. Basically, whatever a basketball fan, NBA fan would enjoy watching. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.